Welcome back, everyone, from the Wall Street Silver community. We have our friend back with us again, Benoit La Salle. Benoit is a CEO of AYA Silver. Benoit, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm doing fine. I mean, with $27 silver and with where this is going, no, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Hey, Benoit, thanks for coming back. You have been in this market as an expert for probably the past 26 years, and our audience is very interested in what's going on because you've been through it all. You've been through the manipulation, you've watched the central banks screw you over for years,
Yep.
and we wanted to find out you own a producing miner in Morocco, and you're producing several million ounces per year of silver in one of the best projects going on. But you were telling me that you have people coming at you every week trying to get you to sell your silver to them at higher prices than spot. And I want you to share that with our audience, what's going on.
Yes, a lot of people talk about metals, but they don't produce. So but when you produce, you're like, you got your feet on the ground and you know exactly what's going on. And so we do get calls because there's very few silver producer. I mean, a lot of the silver is a byproduct. But pure silver mines, they're extremely rare, where you can deliver like 99.6.7% silver bars. I mean, that's extremely rare, and it's scarce. In Morocco, we have this district, which is a pure silver district, and we're one of the producer. So people call us on a daily, on a weekly basis, and coming to us and saying, can you commit? Can you sell us your silver? We're willing to, we'd like to sign a contract with you. We're willing to pay you a premium to the spot market if you want to commit. But the answer is, of course, no, because I think silver is going up. I really believe it. We're going to see it much higher. So we're not committing, and people are not satisfied. But gold and silver, as you know, these markets are manipulated. There are other forces in these markets that really control them, and you have to play around. At the end, the market will win, and the forces are never going to totally overtake the market, but you have to be able to read it. And I ran a gold company for 20 years, and I used to say, make sure you read what Goldman Sachs is saying, because they call it always ahead of what's happening. So they play their book all the time, and I was right. I mean, every time they were saying something, the market will adjust and it would react to what they were saying. But presently in the silver market, the demand's very, very strong. Clearly, we feel it.
Now, when these guys are coming at you, the different traders or the buyers, the bulk buyers who are looking to buy concentrate, and I assume that's the refineries, the smelters, those types of companies. How much over spot are they offering you in a premium, trying to lure you away from other contracts?
It depends. The Monday morning, a few months ago, I think it's about 2 months ago, when everybody thought they were going to be short silver, everybody was short. And so at the time, if I recall, silver was 31, and we were bidded $41 for silver bars, and for concentrate, they were willing to give us also 20%, 25% above the spot price for concentrate. So it's that Monday morning when people really panicked and they said, okay, now we have a problem. And it didn't last, because now, people went around, changed the rules in the States. But you could tell that it's a very fragile equilibrium. But because gold and silver is the thermometer of your fever, if it's going to spike up, for some central banks and funds, it's an indication of trouble. So they rather manipulate it a little bit. They won't kill it. It's just impossible. It will move, but they're going to make sure it moves at a certain space, because it is the thermometer of your COVID fever, and they don't want to show that it's extreme, that the system is sick.
It's the sign. It's a sign of what's probably likely to happen later this year. If silver gets above 30, gets above 31, and we start seeing the media articles written about silver again, you're going to see this panic rush by all the buyers, the smelters, the refineries, to start locking in supply chains and coming to people like you and trying to. Now, you guys don't do any long-term forward sales. You're basically you want to keep your options open. Miners these days are completely unhedged. They want the full exposure to the possible increase in gold and silver prices, right?
Absolutely. Look, unhedged, and if we don't like the price during 1 month, we don't sell. We're very liquid. We have money. We made 4.2 million last quarter of cash flow. We have money, so we produce, we store, and then we like the price. Either with the silver bars, we trade in Geneva, or with the concentrate. We don't like the price, we don't sell. You can tell that this market is short, and we don't sell coins, but all the companies that sell coins are short. The demand is strong, and it's just a question of time where there's going to be a real crunch. When I started the gold company in 1995, we were at $300. We went down to $225, and I kept saying, look, it's changing. The money supply is increasing. It's changing. And then, you saw gold started moving from 2001 to 2008 and 9, to 1900. And it was a real crunch, and they couldn't stop it, to the point where when the large banks start telling their clients, you should cover, you should do this, you should do that, that they're short, and it's problematic. And we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it in silver and gold. I had somebody calling me this week to buy massive quantity of gold. Really? And I referred them to a European smelter, and I said, sure, go. And they were looking to buy like very large quantity of gold. So it's when it's happening, you can see that there's people are positioning themselves for inflation, and revaluation of the precious metals. That, to me, that's quite simple.
Now, there's been a lot of talk in some other areas that Mexico is being mined out. A lot of the great big mines, the high grade ore in Mexico has been depleted, and people are always asking, where's the next big mine coming from? Where's the next big region? And what's interesting about you guys is you've had some of the most amazing results in Morocco. I want to share a picture here. And just for full disclosure, after I talked with you last time, I bought some of your shares, and it's up quite a bit since then. But these are your drilling results. These are all the drilling results for intercepts for 2020 and 2021 year to date. And all the ones in green are yours, correct?
That's right. So in the top 50 intercepts, we have 16 of the top 50 in the whole silver space. It's clearly, Zgounder is clearly one of the top high-grade silver mine in the world. And I agree with you. When you say silver, people think, South America, mainly Mexico, Peru, and no one really kind of realizes that one of the best mines in the world, or two of the best mines in the world in silver, are in Morocco. The government, or the king of Morocco, owns a mine called Imiter, and Imiter is 240 million ounces of resource, and it produced last year 10 million ounces of silver, pure natural silver, no byproduct, nothing, pure silver. We are on the same belt where we have the same geology. Except that it was owned previously by management that did not have the vision to make that into a world-class operation. We came in, we saw that, we started drilling. We're drilling this year at the mine per se. We're drilling 35,000 meters, and on the regional play, because we have 7 permits around the mine, we'll be drilling 6,000 meters. But you're right, we have numbers that are like unheard of, like 14 meters of 3 kilo per ton. I mean, this is unheard of. This is like so rich, and it is. We get into chambers sometimes, and like seriously, we have chambers of 20, 30 meters of very, very high grade silver. So it's not new to Morocco, but it was not known because MYAGF being a state-owned, it's the royal family that owns the company. They don't publicize anything that they have, so people were not aware. But MYAGF was a shareholder in my previous company called Semifo, so I knew Morocco well. I knew they had a very strong silver mineralization belt called the South Atlas Fault, and this is where Zgounder is. So our goal is to make Zgounder the second Imiter, which is 240 million ounces of resource and 10 million ounces of production. We're not there. We have to work. We have to drill. They've been at it for 20, 30 years. We've been at it 12 months, not even, less than that. And
gotcha.
in our first phase of drilling, with results like that, we've increased our resource by 300%. And we'll have another resource estimate at year end. And we also hope to see another 200% increase.
Well, let me ask you, just for some big numbers, what is the current resource that you have officially?
We currently are at 44 million ounces. As of December 31st, 2020, we are drilling 41,000 meters now, and we'll have a resource update in Q4 of this year. Internal target is to be at approximately 100 million ounces of silver. We will still be short of the 240 of our neighbor, but we're just starting. I mean, it's just the beginning.
Yeah. And I think I remember from our last talk that you pointed out that you have several other permits in the mountains around you that you also, and that are completely virgin, correct?
The beauty of Morocco is it hasn't been looked at. We bought the satellite imagery and the hyperspectral imagery. And you know what? We're seeing parallel structure to what we have. It's never been looked at. So that's why we're going to be drilling 6,000 meters of drilling on the peripheral permit, because they've never been looked at.
Yeah.
I mean, and we also have copper anomalies and all of it's write this down. Morocco is going to be the next El Dorado of silver and of copper. Wow. It's the Atlas Fault is right there. It's 525 million years old. It's a VMS, so volcanic, massive sulfide, copper anomalies, and MYAGF have a beautiful copper mine there called Gemasa. Again, privately owned. Nobody talks about it, but you're going to be I'm telling you, Morocco is the next El Dorado of silver and of copper.
Well, I see from your numbers that you're producing right now about 1.5 million ounces. You're on pace for right now for 1.5 million ounces per year, and your expansion plans are going to increase that up to from 1.5 up to 4 million ounces per year. And currently, you have 44 million ounces of reserve resources. So that's 10 years based on the old estimate, but your target is 100 million ounces.
Yeah.
So if you just for round numbers for the audience, you're going to be producing soon 4 million ounces per year, and you think you're going to have a resource base in the 100 million ounce range. So you're going to have about a 25-year roadmap going ahead of you. And there's still more potential for further expansion and further resource upgrades in the future.
The further expansion is already planned. So our original plan was to be at 4. We'll probably be at 5 or 6, and we'll move that up.
Okay. Yeah, but it's sort of a gradual, modular, step-by-step increase. It's not a...
Absolutely.
The other thing I liked about your company and why I invested in it, for full disclosure, is, if I recall, you have no debt, right? You're fully funding this out of cash flow.
Nice.
No debt, and the board owns 55% of the company.
So there's not going to be any more dilution of the shares. There's no debt, and all this expansion is funded out of current cash flow?
Well, the big expansion we believe will cost up right now, back of the envelope, about 80 million. We
Okay.
won't have all of the 80, but we are, we are bankable. Debt is available because we already make 20 million a year of operating cash flow. So
Okay.
we can currently borrow 50 or 60 million, and the payback on that is 1 year.
Gotcha. So I guess what for investors' sake, there's not going to be any dilution, is what you're saying. There's not going to be any more shares for now.
If it is, it'll be small.
Okay, small. Gotcha. Hey,
I'd like to be a 7-8 million ounces producer with 100 million ounces out. If you do the math and you think it's $50 silver, do the math. You'll see how nice it gets.
And your cost of what's your average cost of production? What's your minimum silver price to make money?
$10.
$10 or so. Okay, so you're doing great at 27. You'll be doing even better at 35, I'm sure.
Yeah. When I do the math at 35, I have a smile.
Yeah. So you're buying the first round when we meet up in Morocco.
Definitely.
Okay.
They have great wine too. The Atlas Mountain produces Atlas wine, red wine, beautiful wine. Food, as you know, is amazing in Morocco. The food is great. Tagine and all these dishes are fantastic. It's a great place to work. We're 2.5 hours from Agadir, which is kind of the Nice of Morocco. We're 2.5 hours from Marrakesh, which is a magic city. So we're right there. No issues finding people, and the local people are very competent. So we don't use a lot of expat, very few actually. The local people are doing a fantastic job. Now we have the money. We got 8 drills turning. We had 6. I just added 2 more. We're going to drill 8. We'll have 8 crews running straight through to year end. And then resource update, production update, start of construction, and a path to multi-million ounce of production.
Benoit, my barber is from Morocco, and he's going back to Morocco next month or this month, and he said the opportunity in Morocco is unbelievable. Just in business wise, not even with silver, just the opportunity in Morocco is huge. So that's what he was telling me.
Yeah, it's a great climate. They have very good education. You taught lots of universities, so agriculture is fantastic. Sea product, the best. Oysters. Yes. I mean, seriously, the food is to die. You're on the ocean. Tourism is great. Morocco's look. People know it because they go to Marrakesh, or there's a lot of tourism. But it is a fantastic country. It's safe. Yeah. The currency is stable. The government is been there for years, and they're pro-mining. Beauty of it, unlike some South American countries now, they're pro-mining. There's no foreign exchange, restriction. It's seriously, some people told me Morocco is the Quebec of Africa, except it's 5 times faster than Quebec to get a permit. So it's security of being in Quebec, but the speed of Africa.
They just updated the mining law in Morocco a few months ago, and I remember your stock price spiked up one day, and we were all looking around. What's the news? What's the news from AYA? There was no news released, and it was all about they changed the mining law and made it more open to try to bring in more investment and people like you to.
Yeah. The tax rate is at 20%. Everywhere else at 35%. Repatriation of earnings is not a problem. Look, good geologists. I mean, I'm telling you, it's unknown, but it will get to be very busy. They've just opened up a lot of new permits. It will get to be very busy. We have first mover advantage. I think globally there's some permits that are being issued to us. We should have about 30 permits on top of our 3 mining permits, because we have a mining permit at Zgounder. We have a mining permit for copper at Azegu, which we're looking at right now, and we have a mining permit at Boumadine, which is polymetallic. So our portfolio is unique. It's mainly in Morocco, except for one permit in Mauritania, and a very, very strong team. The band is back together. A lot of people have, came back to work with the team. And you saw, I mean, the production numbers are great. Q4 was excellent. Q1 just released this week is excellent. And there'll be lots of drill results coming in the coming weeks.
Especially in the market, how all these traders are coming at you trying to offer you premiums for your silver that's really not reflected in the spot price. And we all know that spot, what's going on in London and on COMEX is heavily manipulated. And what's going on in the ground with guys like you is a much different story in terms of the desperation that these guys have to lock in their sources for silver. And copper, actually.
Whenever you want, I'm available. And if we see movement, call me, or I'll call you. But I think we're in for quite a ride on silver in the coming 2-3 years. Quite a ride.
I know you were talking 35, 40 this year you think is possible. What do you think is possible like 3 or 4 years out as we, more and more of the big mines get depleted and the green technology boom happens?
I'll use my most conservative number. I think it's 100.
Nice.
You think we're within 3 or 4 years?
Yes, at least.
Yeah.
And I know, some other CEOs have higher numbers than this, but I think we're going to see 100 in the next 3 years. And but this year we should see 35. But again, as you know, it's a one spark, and then the thing.
Yeah, it could. If it gets through 30, 31, who knows? It could be at 40 in a heartbeat. But then you know how the market is. It could spike to 40 and then come back to 35 and find a higher plateau where it builds a new base. I mean, I could certainly.
That's right, but let's never forget, in resource, value creation is from the drill bit only. It's not from the silver price. It will help, but the more ounces you find, Mark Bristow used to have a slide in his Randgold presentation. It was, ounces per shares. And I love that. Meaning
that's a good
the
one.
more ounces you have per share, the more value you create. So because a lot of guys issue paper, and and the ounces per share keeps coming down. The real value creator is the drill, increase the resource. And yes, if you have a good market, then, it's a double whammy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the update, Benoit.
Thank you
so much, guys.